In this video, we are going to be looking at percent proportion. You're going to be able to calculate percentages using the percent proportion. So this is the setup for you. We are going to be making a proportion of is over of equals percent over 100. The part in the whole that I have written in there is for word problems. Just know that when we're talking about part of the information that goes on the top, if you know the whole part or the whole information, if you know the total amount, that's going to go on the bottom. Alright, so I'm just going to put it up on top here so we can reference that. Is over of equals percent over 100. Alright, so it says what percent of 50 is 18. So that means because the of is next to the 50, 50 goes on bottom. Is next to the 18, so 18 goes on top. And that means we don't know the percent, so we're going to put an X there and then 100. This 100 is always stays there. The 100 is never changing throughout all the problems. The only things that you could fill in are where the 18 is, the 50 is, or where the X is. Alright, so we have it set up, so we're going to go ahead and do our proportions and cross multiply. So we have 50 times X, which is 50X, and then 18 times 100. Okay, so we have 50X, 18 times 100 is 1800. Oops, that's 1000. 1800, and then we're going to divide both sides by 50 to bring the 50 over. That means X is 36. Now, because the X was in the percent spot, that means I need to add a percent sign to the end of my problem. So 36%. Alright, so next one. What number is 2% of 35? So the easy one to point out is the of 35. Now I know that the word is right in front of the 2, but that percent sign is also attached to that too, so it's actually 2%. So I'm going to put my of 35, that goes on bottom, my 2 goes on top, and then my 100 goes on bottom, and that means my X is where the is. And it even says what number is, so we don't know what the is. One thing to note is that the 2% is fine as a 2. You don't need to move the decimal any spot. It just is 2%, so you put a 2 on top. So I'm going to do my cross multiplying. So I have 100 times X, so 100X, and then 35 times 2. So I have 100X, 35 times 2 is 70. Divide both sides by 100 to bring that over. And we have X equals 0.7. Okay, I don't put a percent sign on this one because my X was not on the percent part of the problem, or the proportion. So it's just 0.7. Alright, so next one we have 9 is 12% of what number? So 9 is, so 9 goes on top, the 12 goes in the percent spot, and then 100. I like to fill in all the numbers where they go, and then whatever's left over, I just put the X in that spot. So I don't have to think any more than just reading the problem. Alright, so I'm going to do my cross multiplying. So I have 12 times X is 12X, and then 9 times 100. Okay, so I have 12X, bring that down. 9 times 100 is 900. Divide both sides by 12, and I have X equals 75. Okay, again, there's no percent sign on my answer because the X was in the of spot, not in the percent spot. So next one we have 62 is 90.5% of what number? So 62 is, so 62 goes on top, 90.5 goes in the percent spot, and then the 100 is always there, and that means the of is my X. So I have 90.5X equals 62 times 100. So 90.5X equals 6200. Oops, I did that again. There we go. Just 6200, not 62,000. And then we're going to divide both sides by 90.5. So give me some space over here. 6200 divided by 90.5 is 68.5. Okay, so just double check. There should not be a percent sign on this one because the x is not in the percent location. All right, so one more example is the word problem ones. So if you read this, it says, if 200 of the 550 reptiles in a zoo are on display, what percent of the reptiles are on display? So what percent? So that automatically tells me that the percent is going to go, or is going to be the x. So like I said, when we're doing word problems, I think of part and total or whole, and then my percent and 100. So I know my 100 is never going to change. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. And it says what percent. So that means my x is in the percent spot. All right, so now you have to ask yourself, which one is the part and which one is the whole? If you're thinking about this logically, if you had 550 as the part, there's no way that you could have 200 as the total amount of objects, because you can't have more of part of it than what's available altogether. So the 200 of the 550 reptiles. So 200 is the part, and then 550 is the total. Okay, so that means that 200 of the reptiles are on display. That means the other 350 reptiles are just somewhere else at the moment, but they're not for everyone to look at. That's what this means. All right, so now that I have it set up, I'm going to do exactly what we did before. So 550x equals 200 times 100. So 550x, and this time we do have more zeros on this one. And just the trick on this, because I count 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, my 2 has 4 zeros on as well. That's a nice trick for that. You don't have to type that one into your calculator. All right, so I'm going to divide both sides by 550. And that means 20,000 divided by 550. That gives me 40%. Okay, and this one does have to have the percent sign on it because it says what percent. That was the original question. All right, so here's your practice. Pause the video, try these on your own, and unpause it when you're done to check your answers. All right, so we have what percent of 90 is 9. So the of, let's try that again. Sorry about that. So that means 90 goes here and 9 is on top. And I'm looking for my percent, and this is always 100. So I'm going to do my cross multiply, 90 times x, and 9 times 100. So this comes down as 90x, 9 times 100 is 900. Divide both sides by 90, and x equals 10%. So just like I showed you that zeros trick when you're multiplying, when you're dividing, I could have just canceled out one of those, and really I'm just doing 90 divided by 9, which is 10. So there's another nice trick for you. 1% is 25% of 180. So that means my 180 is going to go in the of spot, the 25 is going to go in the percent spot, this is always 100, and my x goes there. So that means this is 100x equals 180 times 25. So we have 100x, 180 times 25 is 4,500. Divide both sides by 100. And using my trick again, I'm going to cross those off. So really I just have 45 divided by 1. So that answer is 45. Okay, no percent sign on this one because the x was not in the percent spot. And last one, a pair of sneakers is on sale for $51. This is 75% of the original price. What was the original price of the shoes? So if you're buying them on sale, that means you're not paying the total amount. You're only paying part of it if they were for full price. So that means that 51 is the part. And we're looking for the original, which would have been the total. And the dead giveaway for 75, where that goes, is because it has a percent sign on it. All right, so this means I'm going to do 75 times x, and then 51 times 100. So 75x, 51 times 100 is 5100. Divide both sides by 75, and this gives me 68. And because this is a word problem, we know that it's $68. Alright, this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching.